Hey everyone, welcome to part 2. If you have missed part 1, I will link to it below. But this is part 2 of our Q&A, so let's get going. This next one is from KL5, and you've said, no question, just love to you and David, XO. That is so nice of you, thank you. This next one is lovely as well, from Ellie, who has said, I also love your authenticity. You're one of the YouTubers that I've stayed following. I massively appreciate that. That is so sweet of you. Ellie has also said, what kept you going and your mindset when facing hardships and economic uncertainty? Ellie, you know, I've been really open about my financial journey in life, and I can say when I was in a lot of debt going back years, I felt terrified. I was in so much debt from university and then from graduating and having like a terrible job that didn't pay enough to cover the interest on the credit cards. So I would end up more and more and more overdraft, in my overdraft every month. That went on for like 3 years. I couldn't get out of that job for 3 years. I felt frightened. I felt like I was never going to pay off this debt. Like I felt like I was stuck and I felt suffocated, and it used to keep me up at night, and I'd need fuel. And I had no money, so I'd have to put it back on the credit card. So all the time, it wasn't even like I could stop using the credit cards. I had to use them to live, to buy food, to buy fuel, to get to work. Plus as well, I was shopping when I shouldn't have been, but I just was in all sorts of like a predicament at the time. And I think what really helped me was talking to people. So I had a couple of close friends that I confided in about it. And then they kind of said to me, do you know what? We're in a similar situation right now. And it really helped me. One friend in particular was in a similar amount of debt than me from university. And she was doing the same thing. She actually couldn't get a job. And we were fresh graduates. And she was like, I'm literally adding to my credit card debt right now because I have no money coming in. So talk to someone. Don't talk to people that are going to judge you. If you're in a difficult spot, avoid people that are going to judge and preach and give you a lecture, because that's not helpful. Avoid people that are going to turn it into gossip. That's not helpful. There are also helplines now that you can call where you can talk to someone who's not going to judge you, who can offer advice. I can't think of any, but I know they exist, so Google it. But know that you're not alone. The amount of people in the UK alone who are in debt is like massive, and you're not alone, and it's a really scary, lonely place. If we're talking about debt here, but even if you're talking about, I'm not in debt, but I can't pay my bills, I get it. Like, I've been there. The next one is from Pauline's Nothing. What's going on with the second channel? I love the content there. So guys, if you didn't know, I set up a second channel in 2024 because whilst I like luxury, I also find it kind of boring. And so I set up this second channel, and it's about everything not luxury, like going to the supermarket, going to TK Maxx, going and getting food, just chill stuff. And I set it up, and then I was like, Sophie, where are you going to get the time from to actually make what is now going to be 4 videos a week? Because there's 2 on this channel and I wanted to do 2 over there. And I fell off the wagon with that one. I just haven't had the time, but I have uploaded a Q&A that's specific to there that's going to go live soon. And I've said to David, we need to go and film for that channel soon, so keep an eye out. I haven't forgotten about it. Okay, the next question is from Laura Emma, 1998. If you had to only get one bag designer forever, which would it be? Which would it be? Do you know, this is a hard question because I change the designer of brand that I use depending on the situation. Like, I've been using Coach a lot recently because I like their designs, but also I feel a bit more safe carrying Coach. I think, and if I'm wearing something more elegant, I like wearing the Lady Dior. If I'm wearing something a bit more funky, a bit more cool, I quite like wearing my Hermes Picotin, or like the bag you can just see there, which is the in the loop bag. That's a hard one. I don't know. I quite like Chanel because Chanel holds its value. Even though I don't really wear Chanel anymore, I like their ready to wear, but their bags, I feel like a target in their bags, which is another reason why I've sold a few. But I quite like Chanel. They're a safe one. My stylist inside out, what's your take on buying pre-loved bags? I love it, but I think, you know, the whole made in China scandal thing. There are a lot of people I have seen literally on Instagram who are unboxing bags they've bought from China, and they're like, ha ha ha, I've bought this bag from China for cheap and it's real. And I'm like, with the best will in the world, it's not real. And then I think what could end up happening is people that spent that money buying direct from China, that truly believe that bag's real, what's stopping them selling it on like eBay, Vestiaire Collective, etc. for real money? And it slips through the net, or doesn't, I don't know. But the whole made in China thing has made me very nervous recently about buying from Vestiaire Collective, from eBay. Instead, I am looking at going to consignment places like Luxury Promise, like Cellier as well. Some of you told me about Bagista, they look good, so I'm preferring to go direct to those sorts of places. Melanie, it's been a while since you talked about debt and financial strategy. Would love an updated take. So debt, I've sort of spoken about that. I used to, when I did the mail times, I used to have a lot of you write to me personally, not wanting your stuff read out, and you were just scared to death about debt. And I mean, all I can do is listen. But if you're feeling alone and you want to talk to someone, I am here. If you just want to brain dump and just talk about it, it's confidential. Like, I feel like I'm offering a service. No, but what I'm saying is I love talking to you guys. And if I can just be someone who listens to you, and I'm not going to judge you because I have been there, I'm happy to do that. Financial strategy. I've been talking about this more on my Patreon channel, but we, for the last several years now, we've got a lot more into investment, and that's when we retire this year, that's what we're living on and what we're going to be doing longer term. PC Loke 72, how did you get interested in rabbits? Well, I got interested in rabbits back in 2012. Dave and I, we went, it was like a weekend, and we went and looked around this pet shop, and they had rabbits there. And I've always wanted a bunny rabbit, and I saw this one in particular. It was like a fluffy little white one, and I said to David, I really want that rabbit. And David was like, no, we're not having a rabbit. And I was like, but I really want it. And he was like, no. Anyway, a few weeks later, I was just like really, really stressed with work and working super late, getting up really early, and I was dealing with the stress really badly. And David said to me, I came home from work really late one evening, like broken, and he said to me, do you remember that rabbit you wanted? And I said, yeah. He said, you know, I think it would be a good idea for you just to have that, like, in just as something to nurture, you know. I've never really fancied having kids, and neither has David, so that was not a thing. And in fact, if I'd had kids, I probably would have felt a hell load more stressed than I already was. But a rabbit, yes. So I remember we went back to the pet shop, and I thought, he's going to be gone, that little rabbit. But we got there, and he was there, and that was Henry. How many of you remember Henry? Henry the rabbit. And he was just a darling little rabbit. We lived in a flat at the time. He ran around the flat. He had his little home in the flat, like quite a large open cage. We never locked him in. He had his toilet in there, his food. He used to go in there to... Do you know what? Things like, in the evening, we used to sit down to eat our dinner, and we literally didn't even have a dining table. This was going back years. We didn't have a dining table, and we used to have to sit on the floor to eat. And he used to come up to us and like start bumping us and like being annoying. And I said to David, oh, why is it every time we sit down to eat, he like is a pest? And then we realised what it was. We were like looking it up online, and rabbits are social animals. And he was saying to us, I want to eat when you're eating. So what we used to do is, instead of feeding him after we'd eat, we'd sit on the floor and we put his little food bowl down as well with us, and we all used to eat together, and he stopped bumping us. And it was so cute, and I miss him a lot. He was very, very sweet, but that's how we got interested in rabbits. JLR 19022, any tips for confidence? I swear, you know, confidence comes with age, but also I definitely think it comes with age, because when I look back to me when I was like 20, I really lacked confidence. But I also think that confidence comes with being more assertive and booting out of your life people that are no good for you, and learning to say no, which can be really hard when you're a good person and you feel like saying no makes you look bad or upsets the person you're saying no to. But honestly, good people come last. You can still be a good person and a kind person, but you have to learn to be assertive. Not even put yourself first. Like, I'm not saying put yourself first in like a mean way, but just learning to have boundaries. If you don't want to do something, you shouldn't have to do it. Like, don't force yourself to do something to make somebody else happy, because you'll never make them happy. They'll want you to do something else after that. Just do what makes you happy. But I definitely think it comes with age, and that's definitely what I would say there. Carol. Hi Sophie, any new spooky stories, updates? Not that I want them to happen. That's from Carol. Carol, that actually is something, and it's from my sister, and she said that I could talk about this. So I can't remember whether I told it on here, but I've told it on my Patreon channel. Go into a lot more detail over there. But my sister moved house a couple of years ago, and their house is very old, and weird goings on was happening. So first of all, she messaged me and she was like, what is going on with me? I've just seen like a child running across the landing, but there was no child there. And she said it was like a shadow figure. And she obviously grew up in the haunted house that we lived in with me. So she was like, this is really reminding me of what happened when we lived back at home. Just all that unexplained stuff. But then the other thing that started happening that couldn't be denied, like when it comes to seeing something out the corner of your eye, she saw it a few times and she like sensed it, but you could write that off as like, maybe I'm tired or whatever. But the next thing that started happening every single night, was they had an old bathroom in there, the original bathroom. Someone would turn the tap on, the cold tap, only ever the cold tap, and it would always happen in the middle of the night, and by morning it would be flooded on the floor, and it started going through the ceiling of the room below it. And she said it must be happening in the early hours and no one's awake, and then when I get up in the morning, early in the morning, it's ruined the floor. So you know what they had to do? They were having to turn the water off at night underneath this sink. This other thing happened, which I witnessed. So it's not her telling me, I actually witnessed this. So she was over with me one afternoon and her Ring doorbell goes off on her phone, and she like watches it, and then she gets this look on her face like she's freaked out, and she goes, oh my God, like listen to this. And we turn up the volume. The Ring doorbell goes off and there's an image of her driveway. You know how the camera comes on, and there's this really weird, like, it's like someone's talking in a very, very deep voice, but it's inaudible. You can't quite hear what it's saying. It's like muttering. And then she's got two wooden doors on her garage, and one just slowly opens and then stops. And then the camera cuts out. She was freaking out and was like, has someone got into the garage, even though I can't see anyone, but I can hear something. She goes home, no one's gone in there. That, you know, nothing's happened. And even my mum was like, are you sure this isn't some creepy stuff from your house that's now moved outside the house? Because honestly, you couldn't, it was talking, it was audible talking, but it was, you could say that somebody had got in, but surely you would have seen on the Ring doorbell that person walking in, and there was nothing. It was just the sound and then the door opening. Very, very creepy. I'll keep you posted if there's anything else. The next one is from Gavin, and it's cut off your message. You've said something tells me you won't be doing Sophie's bag choice on IG again. Okay, I think this is, you were basically saying, I think this is what you were saying, but it's cut your message off. I've been selling some bags on Instagram, and no, I can't see myself doing Instagram sales anymore. The only reason why I did the Instagram sales is years and years ago, I listed some bags privately. Some of you saw that listing and got annoyed. Not annoyed, but you were just a bit like, couldn't you have offered them to us first before you listed them? And it always thereafter made me think, well, I'll offer them to you guys first, and I tend to do it on Instagram. But it's just been a nightmare, to be honest. I'm not going to do it again. People saying they're interested and like tell everyone to stand down and the bag, I want the bag and here's my address, and then they go quiet or they change their mind, and it's just, and then by that point, the people that were interested are now not interested anymore because they've bought something else, or they've moved on to something else. So it's just, I'm not going to do it again. The other thing you've said, this is the same question. This is also from Gavin. What lessons did you learn? It all sounded a bit crazy. So I think the lesson I've learned is don't try and sell on Instagram. Don't try and do it. It's not worth it. The next one is from Carmi263. I told you this video was going to be long. I think this is going to be like 40 minutes. Do you have any advice on someone wanting to start their own business? I would say don't quit your day job until you've got a pipeline of work coming through. That's something that David and I were very cautious about, because what you don't want to do is quit your job, set up a business which costs money, like to get an accountant, to do your accounts. It's expensive. You need to be making the money to even cover just the business servicing costs, national insurance, tax, you know, all of it. So obviously you only start paying tax when you're making a profit. But what I'm saying is, I would say keep with a day job, do your little side hustle, and then once the side hustle starts really snowballing and taking off, then exit your day job and focus on it full time. I did that for years. I was doing my side hustle for years. The next one is from Indiana Sailor. What is your favourite childhood memory? This one is really easy. I have many favourite childhood memories, but I did not grow up coming from money at all. And I used to do a lot of things with my dad that were super fun. So my dad, he was a builder. He's retired now. And one memory I've got is, I remember it being winter because I remember there were stalactites of ice coming off the drain pipes around the house. And I remember looking up, I must have been, it was before my sister was born, so I was probably about 2. And I remember looking up and seeing like the icicles coming down. Anyway, you know when you go to the garden centre and you get those plastic trays with those little plants in it, like those plug plants, you know, and then you've got the tray after. I remember my dad, just for fun, we filled it up with concrete, and then I picked up stones from around the garden and I like made patterns in the concrete, and then we left it outside for a couple of days, like to set. And then that, I know it sounds really silly, but it was like a craft thing that I did that was fun. But the other thing that we did, again, like as I say, we didn't have money, so we used to like make stuff to have fun. And my dad took, and myself and my sister, we went into the woods and we picked out bits of log. And then, because he's a builder, he's got all the tools, so we picked out chunks of logs. We brought them back home, and he used some sort of device to put like a hole in the top of them for a candle. And then we go inside, again it's winter, I remember we made them for Christmas, and my mum's there, and she has all glitter and glue and the candles to go in the tops. And I remember sitting around the kitchen table with my mum, my dad and my sister, and we just made like table decorations basically. And they are 2 really good memories I've got that I always remember. The next one is Fidelma 1975. Not a question, but followed you for years, and you're one of the most authentic ladies on YouTube. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And to all of you who are lovely, I love all of you and I really appreciate it. Danica May, love Danica. Love you, Sophie. Do you and David like going to the cinema during your downtime? We do, and I went to the cinema a couple of weeks ago actually, and we watched Minecraft. That film's really good. I liked that film. It was like not serious at all. It's a very chilled out film. There's a bit of comedy in there. Quite liked it. WANDA, can you do a YouTube about your rabbits, please? So I've covered them a little bit. I've put some images in of them, but I can definitely do some more about them. Nigel Crow, I love your pink Bulgari bag. Do you like any of their newer leather collections? I do. I really like that brand, and I think their quality is very, very good. Indiana Sailor, you've also said If you could choose a superpower, what would it be? Easy, time travel. I don't want to go to the future. I don't want to know what's going on there, but I would go to the past and like change people that I hung around with that weren't good for me, or change situations, or like study harder when I was doing my degree. Little bits, like not buy that BMW that I bought. Many things I would go back in time and change. But is that like, how many of you have seen the film? I haven't seen it in years. It's quite an old film called The Butterfly Effect. Is that what it's called? Where that boy can time travel and he goes back in time to stop something bad that happened, but every time he goes back and changes it, something different that's bad happens. And so he goes back to change that, and in the end, doesn't he get nosebleeds and die? Like, it was quite a deep film. It's good though, but it's a bit depressing. Okay, the next one. J12 Vix. What are you going to do when you both retire later in the year? So what we're going to do, I've had so many conversations with David about this, because I've said, you know, I want to do something, and I don't even know if I'm going to carry on doing YouTube, to be honest. I like YouTube, but I go hot and cold with it. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, it's upload day again today, and I haven't got a video, and I've got to think about something to do. And also recently I've been really busy, so I haven't been out vlogging anywhere. And vlogs, I know a lot of you like the vlogs, and I just haven't been able to do them. So a lot of them's me sat here talking, which I worry could be boring, probably is. But what we're going to do is we're going to carry on with our investments. But the thing is with investments, with the investments we're doing, they don't require too much time. So we're going to have a lot of free time. We want to move into our new house, do it up, renovate it, paint it. I know how I want it to look. I know I've already got a company lined up that I want to do my walk-in wardrobe. We've used them before, they're very good. I just want to focus on that. And David's also talking about buying properties and me doing them up, because it's what I'm interested in. He'd help, but it's not really his bag, but I would totally get into that. So there's a few things we're looking at, but I won't do nothing. I don't even know if I'll do YouTube, I'm not sure. Nikki Loves Lux. What advice can you offer a newer YouTuber to help build their channel? Nikki, I feel like I've heard of you. Nikki Loves Lux. I need to look you up. So what I would say is, Nikki, make videos that you're passionate about and don't stop. Get a frequency. YouTube loves a frequency. They like it when you pick a day to upload and you stick to it. Roughly approximate time as well. But I would say, do what you love. That is the best way to grow. Pick a niche, do what you love, pick a frequency, and blinker yourself. Don't worry about subscribers and don't worry about views. Just focus on making this little space that you love, and if other people love it, they will come and join you, and that's the best thing I can recommend. That's really what worked for me. You've also asked, other than the Hermes Constance, what else is on your wish list? Do you know, honestly, Nikki, the Hermes Constance is like the only thing on my wish list right now, and I can't remember if I said, but I'm actually going to go and view one next week. I don't know, I'm so excited. I've actually been dreaming about that bag recently. Stephanie Reedling has said, how do you find friends with a sense of luxury too? Well, I've got one friend in particular who's so into luxury. She's more into luxury than I am. And we go shopping quite a lot, and she's great fun. But I've got other friends who aren't really into it, and it doesn't really matter. But they don't judge me for it. I don't judge them. They're into other things. They spend their money on other things. One loves golf, spends a fortune on golf clubs. Everyone does their thing. Q Nifty. Did you use launch control on the RS3? Sadly, no. We had nowhere to do that. Katie Lup 10. What do you and David actually do? Is it digital marketing? It's marketing in general. YouTube is my side hustle, my side thing that I do for fun. Some days it's fun, other days it's not fun. But we have a day job, and that's the job that we're looking to quit later this year once we've got these last few projects done. Chichio Blue, have you ever considered buying a Rolls Royce? Yes, a Wraith. Many years ago, beautiful car. It didn't fit in the garage, so that's why we didn't go for it. But hopefully in the new house, the kind of places we're looking at, it should fit, but I don't know, because we're looking at like another car at the moment. Anyway, you've also said, do you like big SUV cars? What's your favourite? I don't really love SUVs, you know that. I quite like the Range Rovers, you know, like the bigger 4x4s, but I'm more of a sports car kind of person. And you've also said, do you like gardening? I love gardening. I've really gotten into gardening in the last few years. It's what I do to chill as well, in addition to making things. And you've also said, what is your current hair care routine? What products do you use? Honestly, I use like rubbish like shampoo and conditioner. Actually, it's not rubbish. It's that brand called Naughty. N-O-U, spelt that way. And I use the one that's made out of pea protein, and it's like hair growth, and it makes your hair so thick and like amazing. And then I just use Kerastars, you know, the oil in the orange bottle. I just use some of that in my hair before I dry it. And that's all I do. Positive and Possible, what's your favourite handbag? Depends on the situation. I like the Lady Dior, but right now it's got to be the Hermes Constance. You've also said, what makeup do you use? I use the Hourglass. I like Hourglass products. I use their foundation, and I use the tiniest bit. And I don't really like using foundation. I just do it because I like to. My body is always darker than my face. Don't know why. Does anyone else have that? So what I do is I like to balance out my face with my body, but I just use a little thin amount. I don't like cakey foundation. And I use Tarte Cosmetics for eyes, and Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk for lips, that kind of thing. Sophie on Insta, are you still thinking of moving to Singapore? Yes. Yes. Justly73. Sophie, you stopped your second channel. I liked it. I know, and I am going to try and get back into it. I'm so sorry. Danielle Borse, hello, why don't you sell your bags for France? Thank you. Do you know the reason why? And I'm really sorry to those of you who don't live in the UK and you would like to buy stuff. It's just basically for security. If a bag goes missing in the UK, I can do something about it. If a bag goes missing and it's overseas somewhere, I can't do anything about it. And you know, these bags are expensive. I don't want you guys losing money, but also I don't want to lose the money and the bag. You know, that's not very fair either. And so that's why I don't ship abroad. Not that anything's ever happened. I have shipped abroad before, but just in recent years, I'm like, no, that's not a risk I want to take. So that's why. Female Driven 1. Ever drive without shoes? It's the best, especially in a manual car. No need for a shout out. Well, you got yourself a shout out. No, I think that's actually illegal in the UK to drive without shoes. It's kind of dangerous. Like, no. Daniel Melb, I think you're in Melbourne, possibly. Are you still considering the possibility of moving away from the UK? Will you take your cars? Yeah, we're still looking to move the UK and leave. And I said to David, because he was like, I want to get the Audi. And I was like, yeah, but we're looking to move. But what we are thinking is we are now looking at countries that drive on the same side of the road as us. Like a few countries, I won't say where, you can guess. But we would take the cars with us. All the cars. Take all the cars with us. They are all of your questions. And I want to thank all of you who have left a question. I really, really appreciate it. I hope that you have enjoyed watching this video. And I will see you in the next one.